Well, we now have a tornado warning in effect for our area. Matthew Wine, I'm Mark Weinberg here on what is a couple days after Christmas. Here, unfortunately, it is an unfortunate, but sometimes we can pay a price, and that price can be with strong to severe thunderstorms. Matthew and I were doing a live in Studio C, and we got the tornado warning. As is customary, we go on TV live when we have tornado warnings. We may be able to push this, I believe, onto our streaming onto our Facebook and YouTube viewers. We're not 100% sure, but again, in the TV space, we want to cover this. New tornado warning just issued here. This one's going to be an effect on a storm, Matthew, that is approaching the Corydon area, where we've got a camera on this storm. So
this should stay just south of Corydon, it appears.
Okay.
New Middletown, Elizabeth would most likely be more heavily impacted by this one.
Okay, so fractionally south of the Corydon area. This is a tornado warning. This is in effect until 9:45. We wouldn't call this short fuse, but it is medium. So they put this out for about 30 minutes or so. This is then going to be approaching Elizabeth, PRP, and I know what people in Louisville are thinking, uh-oh, could this then ultimately approach Louisville? And the answer is yes, Matthew. I'm going to come over to analyst here real quickly. As you're looking at that storm, a couple of things I think are important here. Left is going to be what you normally look at on radar. Right's the area of rotation. The Weather Service jumped pretty quickly on this one from severe with tornado possible over to the tornado warning tag on that storm, where the rotation area is going to be about 6 miles southwest of Corydon or about 2 miles east-northeast of New Amsterdam. Matthew, can you see any debris being lofted? Because that is one of those things that take us from, I'm concerned that this one could be producing a tornado to this is.
Versus there is one on the ground. No, we don't see debris being lofted right now. I'll go back a couple of scans just to see if there was any. And I don't see a single indication of debris having been lofted at any point. Okay. So all of this does, you know, radar indicated tornado warning is what they put out there, not radar confirmed, not radar, not observed. Radar indicated rotation with this storm. In fact, it's come down a little bit from when they initially put out that tornado warning already.
It really has.
We've talked a lot about this. If you guys were following
that new scan actually that just came in
looks going a little bit higher, north of Central.
And there is now a notch on the left side there that's in the radar as well. So that's
Highway
close.
135 southwest so that's going to be between Corydon and Central, probably Central proper, pretty much.
And interestingly enough, Matthew, there's a rotation area that's a mile northwest of Central, and then there's an area of rotation a mile southwest of Central. This brings up the obvious point here for Louisville. This thing's going to have areas of rotation. We don't know if the Weather Service is going to deal with this with severe with tornado possible, or could they go with tornado warning on this one. So I'm just going to go over to the weather wall, and I just want to make sure that we're okay. I'm going to stick my head into the control room. Can you guys throw a thumbs up if it's okay, if I'll be able to go to the weather wall? It is. Matthew, can you do me a favor? What I'd like to do here at the weather wall is, can we go to single panel on this one here briefly? And the single panel, what I want to do is look at rotation first, and then we're going to go and look inside that and see if we're seeing any debris being lofted. So instead of the 2 panel, let's go over to single. And let me just make sure when I pop in screen here, we've got focus in. So this is an area of rotation, and this is an area of rotation. What I'm going to do is focus on these 2 areas, and Matthew is now going to transition us over to correlation coefficient. Do we see any debris being lofted? So what we're looking for is a blue hole. This is a little conspicuous only because, Matthew, that looks perfectly circled. Can you zoom in a little bit more on that one?
Yeah, I would not think that that is a tornado on the ground.
Let's, if we could, Matthew, go back to the rotation. Flip back over now to correlation. And could we put now reflectivity on here so I can just take a look at, is that under rain? I'm not going to say that is a tornado because it looks extremely round, and normally it would not, but it's exactly where we have the area of rotation.
Let me go back a couple scans.
Okay, that's a good point. So this is going back, and we're trying to watch that hole and see. This is what we're watching. What I will tell you is the next scan will tell the story.
Absolutely, it'll tell us
Let's
everything.
zoom this out a little bit, Matthew, as well, if we could. There is the new scan. So now that area of rotation here is just north of Central. That second area of rotation that was to the south has weakened. This area of rotation that's crossing Indiana 135 as we speak on the moment right now is the area that we're watching. If there was to be a tornado, it would be crossing Indiana 135, 6 miles south of the Corydon area. Don't go to this area. Or if you're in Central, you've got to take your tornado safety precautions immediately.
Yeah, this is moving right along Lickford Bridge Road.
Okay.
Just to make that clear, right along Lake Road as well,
okay.
just south of Wiseman Road.
Good calls on the streets, and that can help you then know exactly where to expect it. That is heading towards New Middletown and north of English. Matthew, one more time, let's see if the correlation coefficient is now updated. So the products update at different points.
There you go. It's gone.
Yeah, so I don't think that was.
I don't think so.
It looked conspicuous because it was so round. A lot of times, Matthew, you don't see this being perfectly round. Normally, it kind of gradients or edges down on the side so that if you were to see debris being lofted, it kind of spreads out a little bit. It makes sense because it has weight. But it's still something that is rotating, has been rotating, and interestingly, Matthew, it now appears that they have extended the tornado warning further south, and they have to account for that other area of rotation that is further south, right along the Ohio River. That one looks near Brandenburg.
Yes, so they did just add a new tornado warning there. Like you said, Brandenburg, I was about to hit on that. There is a big push of wind going right through your area right now. At minimum, we're probably talking easy 60, 70 mile per hour gusts.
Right.
However, there could be rotation with this as well. And when you have a big push like this inside of a QLCS, you're waiting for a quick tornado to form near Heath, north of Brandenburg, most likely. And so that's what we're watching. You'll see that next tornado warning come up on GR Analyst in a little bit. You've got it pulled up here, Mark. It looks like, there you go, on the screen. So 2 tornado warnings in effect that are going to be right along and north of the Ohio River heading into western Louisville.
So we're watching now. Obviously what this means for Louisville is, look guys, we need to be really, really careful and aware over the next hour. We've got warnings that are out there. We have tornado warnings that are banked up against Jefferson County, all along the county. We now have severe thunderstorm warnings that include the Georgetown area. I'm curious on this one. Did they go tornado possible? And let me make sure I've got the correct warning. Yeah. So the warning that they just issued for Clark, Floyd, Jefferson is going to be for tornado possible. This one is heading towards New Albany. Let me give you a track on this one because obviously, again, these are now starting to get into heavy populated areas in the metro here. So do you have a speed on those, Matthew, on how quickly they're going east?
I can get that for you in just a second.
Just want to make sure it's
40.
Just make sure that we get these times to be accurate. So this means the Blackiston Mill Road area 6 minutes from now. It means Utica 17 minutes, Prospect 21, Goshen 24, Worthington about 20 minutes. So these are cooking towards the north and east. And I'm also going to do this, Matt. I'm going to do the whole line that's tornado warned. And I'm just going to do that because the whole thing has shown rotation at times. And I think it's important to note. New Middletown on top of you, tornado safety precautions immediately. I need you in Elizabeth to be in your tornado spot now. You got 8 minutes. PRP 17 minutes from now if it was extended. Fairdale 28 minutes from now, 33 minutes in the Newburgh area, and J-Town 41 minutes from now. Matthew, I see you closely looking. I'm going to come over to the analyst as you head over to the weather wall, and you're going to focus on these 2 tornado-warned areas that we have just west of Louisville.
And inside these 2 tornado warnings, we may be talking about 3 different circulations in here. So there are 3 different spots where you have winds on the southern side that are pushing out ahead of the line, and you can see winds, the red returns, meaning winds moving away from radar, which is down further south. So one here, we're watching another one a little bit further southeast of Central. I think that was right along Lake Road. And then you go further south, State 11 toward Laconia. It's going to be north of that main road there. But yeah, very gusty winds at minimum with this one, probably around 70 miles per hour. That could be straight line, 70 miles per hour. But we are seeing that push from the southern side. You can see a little bit of a Boeing segment right there.
That's a big RFD push there. Gotta watch that one.
And so that one, I think, has a pretty decent chance of having a quick spin up. That's the most likely scenario with QLCS tornadoes, with this small line of storms that will only be in your area about 10 to 15 minutes. They blow through pretty fast. They're moving at 40 miles per hour. This one down here with that RFD blast on the southern side, we're going to watch that one real close to see if we can get a quick spin up out of it. They usually do not last long. On the ground for a few miles, and then they're right back up. All right, so there's not a lot of energy to work with to sustain the storms, but there is enough wind shear higher in the atmosphere from surface up while there's not a lot of directional shear, it's moving really fast. So again, you get an RFD push on the south side of the storm, and you've already got winds moving really fast aloft. That could spin things quickly. We don't see any correlation coefficient debris signatures on there, but we have seen at least 3 notches up and down this line, 2 tornado warnings that go out to, I think, what was it, 9:40 or 9:45?
So with these new tornado warnings, and there's obviously multiple, we have the 9:45 on the northern tornado warning and the 9:45 on the southern, Matthew.
Okay, and both of those butting right up against Jefferson County. Doesn't include Louisville yet, but we are watching to see if they're able to hold themselves together. And as I mentioned before, Mark, there's not a lot of instability or surface-based energy to work with here, so these usually aren't sustained for a long time. You see a warning come up, and it usually gets dropped before it ever gets to the actual expiration time of 9:45. I don't doubt that that could be the scenario here. The one to the north, we talked about this one on the stream near Crandall. It did have a very small area of rotation, another one of those little kinks in the line, and that's going to be just north of 265 or right along 265 in southern Indiana, where it makes that that connection with the 65 corridor south of Sellersburg. So there was a small area of rotation here. It's not as prominent as when they first put out that severe thunderstorm warning, tornado possible. That's why they didn't put a tornado warning on it.
So where we stand right now, Matthew, we kind of are in agreement on this, is we have this area where we're seeing transient rotation. At times the rotation comes up, at times it goes down. And these are things that we're going to need to watch as we move through the evening here. So our cameras here, I'm going to go into the back really quickly, Matthew. I think that I need to do a reset on one piece of equipment so we can get all those cameras. But that's where we stand right now on these warnings, as we have the tornado watch that only shares 2 counties now in our area, Matthew, and that one just...
And that expired, and neither of them have been warned with tornado warnings.
Which is kind of interesting, is where do we go now? Do we go with a tornado watch, or do we just let... I think we're probably going to go with warnings on these and then allow them to wind down, because it is localized.
And so I'm going to bring back up our GR analyst here very quickly for you guys. Again, we've got these 2 warnings that go until 9:45. They're in southern Indiana and Meade County, northern Hardin County as well. For tornado potential within these storms. Now, we haven't seen anything confirmed. The ones in the first warning, the northern warning here, that are heading toward Elizabeth, that already blew through New Middletown, that circulation was further south of you in New Middletown, those circulations have come down very, very quickly.
Really?
Very
okay, that's
quickly.
Good to hear.
Yes. Laconia, though, you're getting at least straight line winds of around 65 miles per hour. And you very well could have rotation that's directly above you, moving north of West Point, and it'll catch the southwestern side of Jefferson County, unless it too falls apart, just like the ones to the north of it did.
And as we continue to monitor these storms, obviously we're going to continue to see these areas of rotation maybe move upward, maybe move downward. These are the kind of things that we're going to be watching. And in Louisville, we're obviously looking west out of the city. These are things that are very, very important as we watch. We'll be looking for things like power flashes. Do we see bursts of power lines possibly exploding? Things like that. Because that would tell us that a storm is doing damage. Would we see parts of our city maybe go dark? These are things that we're going to be watching, and we're looking directly west into those storms. Matthew, these are the where we stand. What I'm going to do real quickly, Matthew, is I'm going to add a couple of cameras into our show so that we can show more portions of our area where these storms are moving in. So that is where we stand right now in Louisville. And I'm going to bring cameras in here slowly into our weather system so that we can take a look. So an example, this is our view out of Elizabethtown right now. So Elizabethtown, it's fairly quiet, which is good.
You talked about this on the stream, Mark. Lack of lightning with a lot of these storms, usually indicative of lack of energy that's working with them. The updrafts aren't too strong. When you see a storm intensifying, it tends to pick up. You see a lot more lightning strikes with it. That is not the case here today. Big severe thunderstorm warning just came out for Bullitt County, northern Hardin.
And that may be that they're basically giving their hand now. I mean, I think that's a big deal. The fact that they're going severe thunderstorm warning, and I assume this is with TOR possible.
Yes, it is TOR possible.
The Weather Service is probably going to then move into this concept as this comes through Metro Louisville. What is this? So as meteorologists, we have tools in the tool chest. There is severe thunderstorm where we have damaging winds as the main concern. We have severe tornado possible, which means we've now elevated it a little bit. Now we're concerned that maybe you could get a tornado. Now we can go from there into a tornado warning. That means radar is indicating a tornado. Or even more concerned, now we can go into tornado observed, where we have a tornado that we can tell is on the ground doing damage, and then from there we can go into the tornado emergency, which is the highest of the highest. So this is one of those where the Weather Service is concerned that we can get in between maybe a scan, a quick spin. This is something
2 or
that
3 minutes.
60, maybe 20 to 60 yards wide can produce a mile or two of damage. This is the scenario that we are now in, and the Weather Service has made it obviously abundantly clear that their play as this goes into Louisville is that they're going to go with severe, with tornado possible. And we can see on there, Matthew, I'm going to head over to the wall real quick, and let's go through an analysis of what we have. Number one, Matthew, let's take off the scope here briefly, zoom that out. I just want to see what kind of lightning we have, because lightning is a good indicator of how strong the air is rising, what we call updraft strength. Updraft strength is very, very important, and we look for lightning here. We're continuing to look for lightning, and
not seeing any.
We're not seeing any. So what we have right now are tornado warned rain showers. And this is because we are at night. This is December. December, I've worked events in December. I've worked events in January, in February. I would tell you that I've worked severe weather and tornado weather events in every single month of the year. But what is the notorious for a cold season is a lack of fuel. More often when we go into the nighttime like this, when we do get tornadoes, they're quick spins. And let's go in and up and down this line, Matthew. I want to zoom towards our heavily populated areas. Charlestown right now, no lightning, storm is on top of you. Let's do a track on this storm from around Charlestown through New Albany. Remember, these storms are moving east at around 40 miles an hour. This is going to give us a sense of when should I be concerned. Now, so Clarksville, it's now. You need to be prepared for a severe, but here's my thing. I don't think it's a bad idea to be in your tornado safe spot. And the reason is you can get quick spin-ups in this scenario. Prospect 9 minutes from now in the Buckner area. This is going to be in Oldham County, 20 minutes. That's crossing 71. LaGrange, 23 minutes, and 34 in the Smithfield area. Matthew, can you give me a quick velocity on this as well? I just want to see what we're looking at. Is there any areas of rotation that bother me from Charlestown through east of Sellersburg, further south? So looking in Charlestown, not overly concerned. There may be a small kink here near the Cementville area, but I'm not overly concerned about that. Let's squeeze that into the New Albany area. I think we're looking okay here right now. This is a severe thunderstorm with a tornado possible on it. Let's now move down the line.
They did just cancel the tornado warning in Elizabeth, but they've left the one up for Buena Vista down to West Point.
Okay, so this tornado warning has now been allowed to expire. This one has kept. Matthew, what I'm seeing here is, interestingly, that rear flank downdraft push, that strong wind on the southern portion of that line that created this notch, now appears to be expanding further south and spreading out exactly. So now that rotation doesn't look as significant as it did. So what happens when these rear flank downdrafts or these winds kick out right on the southern part of the storm, it can just spin up the rotation a little bit more briefly. And then once that rear flank downdraft accelerates a little further, it cuts off the updraft, chokes it off from any fuel it has, and weakens the rotation. And that's what we're seeing here near the Buena Vista area, is that area of rotation has come down as the rear flank downdraft appears to have choked off that updraft. This is what's going to happen. We're now in a time where there's not a lot of fuel. So these brief notches we get, this is why we're referring to this as a quick spin versus a long duration kind of tornado, because these little subtle details like a quick rear flank downdraft may just cause a brief rotation to spin up quickly enough that it can generate damage. Now, we're also moving into an area on our radar that we're not going to see straight line winds incredibly well. This is something important to note because we're going to get a better view on rotational winds and that's going to be the best on what we see out of this. Matthew, because we have cameras in a lot of these areas, let's look. Storms are moving through the New Albany area right now. That doesn't look like a lot in New Albany right now. It just doesn't. And on radar out of New Albany, I mean, that's already moved through New Albany. This should be approaching
into Jeffersonville, downtown Louisville. These storms are already into the West End right now.
So I'm going to pop us over onto our Louisville camera just so that we can take a look. So Louisville camera, let me get to this one. We got a couple of cameras. I'm going to, after the show, my friend, I'm going to have to make sure we clear these up. Let's see, do we have, I'm just looking for the downtown camera. There we go. So this is the downtown Louisville camera. This is the one that we're looking due west out of Louisville downtown. I'm going to stay with this, and if you guys could, what I'd like, I don't know if we have the ability to double box with our radar computer, but if you can double box our weather computer with the radar computer, let us know. What we're trying to do here is we want to be able to view the storms live coming into Louisville while we're looking at the radar of what's occurring in Louisville. The reason here is obviously radar can tell us only so much. What we know is that we're seeing some levels of rotation, Matthew, within these storms, but the camera's going to be the money. It's going to tell everything. The camera's going to be critical. We are seeing an area rotation that Matthew is viewing right now. Matthew, I'm going to come over to the analyst real quickly, and you're viewing that. That's very close to the ground. What are we talking, 300 feet above the ground on radar, 303? Yep. So that area of rotation would be basically about to go just south of Valley Station. So this is Dixie Highway, just outside of the Gene Snyder, or 841 in this particular case.
It's minimal at best, but I mean, you talk about a quick spin up. I mean, in between scans sometimes you can have, with the QLCS setup like this, you can have a tornado quickly touch down and lift back up. This is going to be south of Elizabeth and heading south of Valley Station, right along the Gene Snyder, the western side of the Gene Snyder toward Hollyville. I think you mentioned that earlier. So folks that are, if you recognize those areas and you travel in pretty frequently, we're just giving you a quick little heads up that things could pop off. We did just have a new severe thunderstorm warning get issued for Radcliffe, E-Town, down towards Summit and Stevensburg. And I mean, a lot of folks have been included in this new one west of 65. So.
And this is going to be now for Breckenridge, Bullitt, Hardin, Meade. Also noting here 60-mile-an-hour winds, tornado possible. As I noted, the Weather Service has obviously made it clear that this is going to be their tool that they're using. So if you're, let's say, waiting, there we go, camera just got hit with the winds in Louisville. If you're waiting for the tornado sirens to go off to take action, it may not be the right choice. My opinion here is if you're concerned, we have some level of concern that we can get quick spin tornadoes. Take your tornado safety precautions, even in the Louisville area right now. And Matthew, you can definitely see this thing's producing some winds as it just hit the downtown area, and you can see our camera jumping around. Matthew, I'm going to go out into the break room real quick. I want to look and get eyes outside just to see what we've got, give an estimate on winds of what we're seeing here in our water garden. Okay, so I've got a view now on the lights here out of our water garden. Matthew, I'm going to say 50, 55, 60 here. We got some pretty significant winds here downtown. Trees are not laying down or leaning hard. Positive out of this whole thing would be is that we do not have a lot of leaves on the trees, but that looks like severe level winds that are out there, Matthew. Those look like good 60s. So if you're in Louisville, prepare. This is going to be producing 60s in Louisville. Look at that camera shaking now.
Yep, up and down, up and down. The rain hitting it pretty hard.
You can hear it now on our building, too.
It's really moving.
So if you have any friends, family in the Louisville metro area, tell them to prepare for 60-mile-per-hour winds. 60-mile-per-hour winds. I think that you're going to get it in probably a large chunk of this line. Will this cause power outages? It's a distinct question that I cannot answer because partly we don't have a lot of leaves on the trees, and this can help. 60s lays down trees when there's a lot of leaves on there. When they're bare like this, sometimes it doesn't do a lot of damage.
Right. Again, just to reiterate, I know that you see 2 tornado warnings on our map here on radar, 2 red boxes. Only the southern one is still active. And even that, the area of rotation has just moved out of the box. It's right along the Ohio River, moving south of Valley Station, but it has weakened quite a bit. So really, I think that we're transitioning for right now to an all straight line wind event.
So where we stand here is we've obviously got, I think that they're pretty close to 60, and I'm just going to get into the National Weather Service check because we are very quickly going to be getting the measure from Muhammad Ali International. This is very, very close to there. Once that hits, then we would know if it indeed has done any damage here.
It's 9:45, so both warnings you saw just popped off of our screen. National Weather Service has not indicated that they're going to reissue those. And for good reason, I think, because we don't see the same area of rotation that we did previously. However, these happen very quickly.
Right. And I honestly think that this is the appropriate method to go on this. My argument is going to be we go this route because it's going to be, I think, a better and a safer play in terms of what's appropriate for the scenario. Can we get a spin? Yes. Damaging winds are the primary threat.
Yes, absolutely.
Damaging winds are the primary threat. And these, I wanted to show you the power outage map. I think this is important because we need to see, here's the baseline.
Right.
Does this change in 5 minutes? In 10 minutes? Because if the baseline changes, we know that we've had damage that has occurred. And if you see me from time to time, by the way, messaging off my phone, it is because I have family in town here and they're messaging me. Obviously, this isn't the weather that they deal with in the Ohio Valley. We deal with this frequently. They don't always deal with this. And, you know, I'm like you are. You know, we're all like you are.
Care about your family.
We have family. We have friends in this area. And when there's weather threatening them, we obviously alert them the same way we do when we're on TV. And I hope that this then at least lets you know if I'm messaging my family, I have some concern on this. And I do have some concern that we can get these quick spins in this scenario. And that's going to be one of the things that we have to watch very closely. Matthew, I'm going to come over to 3D because you're looking through Louisville.
Yes.
Anything there that jumps out at you is says this now might be moving towards tornado. To me, it still looks more like a wind line. And that may change in 3 to 5 minutes. But right now, we just don't see one of those hard kinks on the line.
No, and if there is going to be anything, it's going to be along or just south of the Gene Snyder in Jefferson County into northern Bullitt County, north of Shepherdsville. Those would be some areas that I would be watching, but nothing sticks out in particular right now. Oftentimes, we see a big gust of wind come through near Muldraw or West Point, and there's a quick spin up, and that is not the scenario this time around. It does look like it's all straight line right now as it's passing across where our radar is there south of West Point. So it does look like everything has transitioned over to straight line for now, but that does all change in a hurry when you've got events like this where you've got a high wind shear event but low instability event with the surface-based energy.
And so what we're kind of talking about here is that if you were to get in a elevator right now and you were to go upward in the atmosphere, you would run into 75-mile-an-hour winds a mile above the ground. Now you're thinking, what? 75? Yeah, but you don't live a mile above the ground, but that's ferocious wind. The problem here is good, bad, whatever, is that we don't have a lot of fuel with this.
Right.
And I think that's a really good thing. We're not matching a lot of fuel with a lot of wind energy. If we were, Matthew, every one of these would be doing damage.
Absolutely.
And when we view this power outage map, we would expect these numbers to explode, and that's not happened to
Oldham County, I think, has gone up by 1.
Okay. So as it stands right now, we're seeing strong winds coming through Louisville. When I looked outside, it looked like probably 50 to 60 in the metro, in the downtown area. But I did not see trees leaning down because there's no leaves on them.
Right.
It's the drag. It's like if you were to blow 60-mile-an-hour winds at me and I go like this sideways, the wind will go right by me. Now, if I open up my coat and I kind of do the parachute thing, it's going to really, really pull me backward. And that's kind of our scenario here is we don't have a lot of leaves on our trees. So the hope here is we don't get a lot of damage. Matthew, I see you looking a little bit towards southwest Louisville. Anything you see there that bothers you?
Nothing that bothers me. It's just, you know, that was an area that did have rotation as it was moving south of Elizabeth previously, north of West Point, but has since really fizzled out. So nothing screams, hey, I'm about to throw a tornado at you here.
So back over to the wider view, Matthew. I'm going to take a walk over to the wall real quickly and let's do a track. Let's look at everybody. I don't want to hyper-focus on Louisville only. I know Louisville's our highest population center. I say this a lot. If you live in our highest population center or if you have the smallest number of people in your county, we don't care. we cover the weather for everybody. Matthew, let's zoom this out to the wide. Let's show the viewing area. Let's go down the line here, and let's talk about what to expect here for every location. Madison worst is through your area. No warning right now. In Carrollton, you can see this is coming down 71. So the maybe 40 to 50 are going to be in Carrollton. Here's Carrollton right here. So this is going to be around 25 minutes or so. It's in Trimble County right now, so Bedford, Kentucky. This then edges towards around Goshen, Kentucky. So this is going to be crossing over 71. It's approaching the Buckner exit in around, let's say, 8 minutes. It's going to be around 10 to 12 minutes in LaGrange. It's going to be around 6 to 8 minutes in the Campbellsburg area. Now we move towards Louisville, where we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. Remember, Weather Service has chosen to go with tornado possible because we need to watch for these transient quick spins. Matthew, the nose of that coming through Linden right now. So let's just walk this. Can we zoom in a little tighter? I just want to start in northwest Louisville, and I just want to call. So here is 71 Gene Snyder. Worthington, it's on you within 3 minutes. Anchorage, 6 minutes. Linden, it's on top of you right now. Hurstbourne, you've got, I'm going to give you about 3 to 4 minutes before you'll get a gust of maybe some 40-mile-an-hour winds. Let's move this now further to the south. Let's include, just got a new scan here. So this is going to be, right here is Mall St. Matthews. It's over Mall St. Matthews. This, in this area is going to be Hurstbourne. So this now coming through Breckenridge Lane along the Gene Snyder. We go south. We run into Bardstown Road here. So it is along the Newburgh area. This right here then would be Fern Creek. So Preston, Beulah Church in this area. This is going to be in Fern Creek in around 8 to 12 minutes from now. Further south, let's go Glen Mary, Little Spring Farms, Fairmount here. That line's going to be about 15 minutes out from you right now, not showing rotation. We are watching Smyrna. So this is coming along Preston Highway here, right where that junctions with the Gene Snyder in the next 60 seconds. And then Smyrna Road's right here. I'm going to call that about 4 minutes from now to 5 minutes in the Smyrna area. Let's continue the trek southward here as we go into the Hillview area, crossing Brooks exit here. This is about 8 minutes or so away from you. We get into Shepherdsville. Storm right now is over West Point and Fort Knox. So it's going to be in Shepherdsville in around 14 to 18 minutes from now. Zooming out a little bit further, continuing down the line here. We run into the severe portion of the line that's near the Dietz Acres area. This goes into Radcliffe. Let's do a track on the portion of the line that's approaching E-Town. E-Town right here, you can see on the bottom of our screen. We are watching you. I want to give you an ETA in E-Town. We'll obviously be watching on our camera network, and if you want to view our camera network, you can. They're always live on our website, WDRB.com. Click weather when you get there, and you'll see in the drop-down menu the cameras. You can watch the camera that's closest to you, so you can know exactly what's going on. Radcliffe 4 minutes from now, 14 minutes from now in the Cecilia area, and 29 minutes from now in the Boston area. Matthew, you're about to do TV in about 8 minutes, my friend. We're ready for our show here?
Oh, we're ready.
Okay, so we are ready. That's where we stand on the storms right now. You've kind of had your eye on a lot of portions of this, Matthew. It's always interesting when we cover these together. Number one, by the way, it's always fun to work with you when we actually have active weather. Nothing, we don't want to have to deal with it in this time, but in terms of what we do, this is how we sharpen skill set, and spending some time together working on this. This is the reason I came in tonight. Matthew recognized the scenario, recognized some concern. We talked, we said, you know what, let's get this covered. Let's make sure we watch it and keep an eye on it. So Matthew, you've had an opportunity here. You're in what we call the analyst position. You're in the position where you're looking at each individual portion of that line. Are you seeing, and I'm going to come back over to our analyst, what Matthew is looking for is greens and reds next to each other. Are you seeing anything in here? Let's start with Metro Louisville that bothers you.
No, nothing in Metro Louisville especially. I do think that the northern edge of this line of storms has really gone through its mature phase already, and it has eaten up whatever energy was left over from the daytime hours. The sun has set. There wasn't a lot of surface-based energy to work with in the first place. I don't have big concerns for Louisville at this point.
Okay. Other than strong winds?
Strong winds, yes. Excuse me. I should have phrased that as rotation. Not big concerns for rotation, but strong winds of 60 miles per hour possible for eastern Louisville now. The western side, you've already seen the worst of it. Let's go down to Shepherdsville as it's crossing over the 65 corridor. Yes, some 60 mile per hour gusts. Can't rule out rotation starting in that area, but I am less concerned there. I would say it would be south of Radcliffe that there could be a couple spots where maybe some brief rotation possible, but again, not seeing big concern out of this. The deeper we go into the night, the less of a severe weather threat there is going to be. We just had a 54, was that, 54 mile per hour gust at SDF. So that is almost right up to severe criteria officially at the airport. And you just saw I think the backside of this southern severe thunderstorm warning chopped off a little bit there on one of our other monitors that we got pulled up. So,
and it's cooking. I mean, this thing is racing along to the east. Now, you and I have worked scenarios where they're going 70 miles an hour.
Yeah, very quickly.
And it's because the wind energy is furious. This is really strong wind energy, but if one of these storms accelerated up to 70, we would be much more concerned that virtually everything's going to be severe. And we've worked those scenarios, Matthew, where we've had like every single storm that went across the area was warned. This one, to me, and based on what we saw outside, is probably the 50 to 60.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious because Matthew and I have been showing you the power outage map.
Haven't seen any upticks on any of the numbers.
A little bit, maybe Bullitt County.
Bullitt County, well, I think, it's been around 100, yeah. So don't be surprised to see a few more be added to this within the next 10 to 15 minutes or so as it hits more populated areas like Shepherdsville, like Hillview. And we're now 4 minutes away from WDRB News at 10 o'clock starting. Just so you guys know, we are going to go live into the newscast when WDRB starts. Joel will throw it over to you, and then we'll do a first weather out of that. But just making sure that everybody knows that we are going to start WDRB News at 10 in a normal format here, as we do not have tornado warnings in effect right now. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for Metro Louisville, for Bullitt County, parts of Harrison County, although that's getting behind the storm. As we noted, Bullitt, eastern fringe of Meade, and then Hardin County. Matthew, I think we're kind of getting into a scenario now where we're probably going to be talking about getting towards these SPSs, where we're probably going to, instead of seeing a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings, these are some of our heavy populated counties. Louisville and E-Town have high population centers. The Weather Service traditionally is going to play it a little bit safer when they're in the high population centers. This is just normally the way it works with how they deal with things. But once this goes beyond, they may start to go with these, hey, I think they're going to not be severe, but they're going to be close. And we're definitely transitioning, as you mentioned, Illinois. When you were here earlier, I mean, literally every storm that was coming out of Illinois into southern Kentucky, or I'm sorry, northern Kentucky and western Indiana was tornado warned, everyone. And now we've got just a couple. And in a little while, we'll probably have few that are warned, if any. But I think, the thing is when I was looking outside, I think sometimes because of what we do, we focus on that 60 criteria, I mean, if it's a 60, it's going to do damage. But I hear a lot of people, we'll look at, let's say 40 mile an hour winds come through. They'll say, Mark, it was really bad when it came through my neighborhood. I think that the perception of severe versus what you and I deal with as scientists sometimes can be a little different. Is this going to be bad? To the guy that's gone through Oklahoma severe weather, they may say no. To many people in this area, when 50 mile an hour winds come through, a lot of people are going to say that packed a punch. And for the people that didn't take down their Christmas decorations before this came through, especially those inflatables, I mean, you're going to look outside and you'll be like,
what happened
to my whole yard? And it was a bad storm that moved through, because all of those things are going to be knocked over, especially the big inflatables, maybe down the street, ripped up from the cords that keep them down. So that's what you're going to look outside and you're going to see things just all over the place after these things have moved through. But the good news is this is moving through exactly on time. I think once we get past midnight, we're done with any storms whatsoever.
And one of the things I would ask, guys, if you can do me a favor, can you take radar full here, Matthew? What that's going to allow me to do is take your position, allow Matthew to get ready for WDRB News at 10. I don't have an earpiece in right now, so Joel, what's start time on the news? Is it 10 on the button tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, so Matthew is going to go ahead and get his show ready. I'm going to do a quick analysis of what we have, and then what I'm going to need is what the exact start time is so that we can make sure we get the news started. So we've got thunderstorms right now and rain. You're like, well, Mark, I don't see a lot of lightning. You are right. In fact, you know what? Let's do the exercise, and let's not say what does it look like. Let's look at our entire viewing area on lightning, and you can see on the top of the screen there, And guys, if you could take the radar computer full. So this is going to be the computer on the right listed as radar. Matthew is on the weather system. So if you guys can take radar, so Matthew can get ready for the show here. But we don't have any lightning strikes that are showing up right now. So the actual lightning count in our viewing area is 0. So we continue to see a thunderstorm let me rephrase that, rain shower with strong winds generating some winds from around Anchorage, J-Town, through Brooks, through the Shepherdsville area, through Radcliffe, and then extending southward towards Litchfield. We do not have any lightning within this, and we're not looking at higher end severe weather. So the warning for Louisville has just been dropped. WDRB News at 10 starts right now.
Now on WDRB News.
Wind advisory in effect tonight into tomorrow morning. We'll talk about when those winds peak and just how much cold air they're going to be ushering in.
People with oxygen tanks and those in wheelchairs have packed this community room out since an electrical fire blew out the power at St. Catherine Court Residential Building. We'll tell you how Louisville Metro Housing Authority is responding and how people living here feel coming up.
Local animal shelters are seeing an influx in pets around the holidays. Why they're seeing that, plus what they're doing to help pet owners who are financially struggling.
Thanks for joining us right now for WDRB News at 10 o'clock. I'm Joel Skipper, joined by meteorologist Matthew Wine. Of course, we're following that weather. We have been for the last hour. Fortunately, it sounds like things have died down.
A whole lot. Now, we do still have one severe thunderstorm warning left over. The tornado watch has expired, but a lot of the warnings that we just had, and we had 2 or 3 different tornado warnings, those were all outside of the tornado watch that had been issued earlier. So we are down to that last severe thunderstorm warning. Hardin County, Southern Bullitt, Meade County, you're still included in this as well. Let's take an overall view at the storms as they're moving through here. You can see a long line, but a thin line of storms. So right along the leading edge, we're only talking, you're in this thing, the thick of it, for about 5 to 10 minutes. It blows by, it is done. And then you just got some light lingering showers after that. The metro, you did have a storm that was severe thunderstorm warned, but did just expire a couple minutes ago. Let's go a little bit further south. Radcliffe, you're included in this, just south of Muldraw. It is tornado possible, but just got removed. So no longer seeing any rotation within this severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 10:15. It's got another 13 minutes listed there for Bullitt, Hardin, and it's already out of Meade County. So Meade County, I know you're still included, but not anticipating 60-mile-per-hour winds in your area any longer. But if you're in E-Town, give it about 5 to 8 minutes, and you're going to get these nasty 50 to 60-mile-per-hour winds. Boston, give it about 10 to 12 minutes or so. Bardstown's a little bit further east of you, or west of you, I should say, but this same line of storms is going to get to you, and it is going to be weakening by the time it gets there, which is great news. We didn't have a lot of energy to work with today, especially after the sun set. That's why earlier today I talked about these storms. We were streaming this, we were posting videos, and we had all of these severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings all up and down this line. But we're outside of daytime heating. We've lost a lot of instability. The wind shear's still there, so they're still strong, but not quite what they were. On the backside of the system, we're going to get cold air that rushes in, and we are talking a massive drop in temperatures, potentially 50 degrees or more from our high temperature today of 75, potentially down into the low 20s to start off your Monday. And it will be very close to the greatest 24-hour temperature drop that we've ever recorded in the Louisville area, that happening back in 1963 from 46 to -12. It's going to be cold out there as we head into tomorrow morning. Joel.
All right.